How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to go and do an exploration video on that, what's it called? Chernokamensk? Chimcheruski? The last map, the fourth one, the only one I've not done. This is what I took in the end. A goddamn fleet of horses, because they always save my bacon. Yeah, I've got Zix, I don't know, 4 or 5 loafs, a dolphin, a maintenance trailer. I've already, like, there's another trailer nearby that I could already grab as well. Yeah, this was just a little drive on the way. It's just to show you, though, on the way, like, I had to climb up a hill there, and because obviously the Zix doesn't have chained, the only reason I could get up here is the dolphins pushing me from behind, but as well, on the trailer, I had a couple of chained loafs just in case, like, because I'm planning on splitting this little road train apart. I was just trying to take everything from Cosmodrome to this new map. In one little go, yeah, like I was planning on breaking them apart. I ended up able to fit 3 loafs on the trailer, which is why I kind of had a spare orange loaf that's got a chained and an autonomous winch, so I'm just kind of going to leave them at the gateway, but just on the off chance if everything else goes terribly wrong. Yeah, so this is the map as we look at it. You can sort of see there's well, yeah, I have 4 watchtowers to go and get, and again, I've never seen any footage of this map or anything like that. I don't like to look at anything before. Yeah, I've kind of done it blind myself, just so I kind of get the the full experience. So yeah, for the first little one, I'm setting off with my dolphin and a loaf. At the minute, I would say I could take the trailer with me, because it looks like I'm just going to zip down here and grab this and then essentially go back to the main road where I just was at the entrance. I just left the trailer behind because I knew I'd be able to zip there and back. But yeah, there ends up being a place where, as I'm going along here, I can now cut down to the right, so it's not anything major, but I just zip back and grab my trailer. Like, knowing what I know now, I would have still brought the trailer along with me here. This bit's a bit dodgy, but as long as you don't roll as you dip into it, stick a winch on that tree, and then, yeah, it's sort of impossible to roll. Then you kind of seesaw on your winch and go over that. And this map, by the way, is a hell of a lot better than doing like that Northern Aegis installation or anything. This was actually a pretty enjoyable map. It's still not completely easy. Sadly, there is a few places where they've gone over the top with all this boring, slow, super death snow or whatever, because, yeah, well, I mean, a little bit in the video, you'll see a bit where they haven't added it as super snow, it's just normal snow. And not only is it nice to drive, but because you're able to pick up a fair amount of speed, it's now has actual difficulty to it, as in I've got to pay attention or slow down, if you know what I mean. Like, I now have to, yeah, kind of be in control of what I'm doing, whereas, like I said, this is just, yeah, squeeze the throttle, and I'm half the time watching a YouTube video while I'm crawling through that. I think, I can't remember if I've already gone past it. I think I had just gone past, like, where we're later going to cut down to the right, like, so, yeah, that's where I would have brought my trailer to, and then just disconnected it there. And then quickly just zipped up this last little bit. And overall, I think as far as bringing vehicles, the Zix definitely did alright on this map. The Zix probably got sent the easier way. Like, this video is, what, nearly 54 minutes. It's probably about 25-30 minutes getting these first 2 watchtowers, and then the last 2 pretty quick. I've also got the upgrade locations, and like I'm grabbing them on the way around. I didn't even realise there was 2. I seen the first upgrade on this map, and I just assumed it was Bruce's new suspension. But what was it? Oh yeah, it was tuned custom suspension for that new little Sentinel Scout thing, which I could have swore I already had tuned custom on it anyway, but whatever. Yeah, so we got that, and then I also got Bruce's active suspension, so yeah, as we go round I'll sort of show you where they are, and quickly how I went and got them and everything. So yeah, as you're climbing up here, there's a couple of steps. As I said, the Dolphin was definitely fine to bring. Maybe for like this bit though, the Tatrin, if you could bring that, that'd be alright here, because it'd probably jump up these little rocky ledges quite easy, as it's got like that little ramped nose to it. But again, to be fair, I mean, the Dolphin, it is climbing its way up. Obviously, plan B is always the option. I'll whip out the goddamn horse, and then I'll just send him up there. But to be honest, it's funny, because once I put a horse in the sideboard, the whole idea is obviously so I've got that on me and I can jump him out and zip him off. But then I always like the fact that I've got a horse in my sideboard, so I just try and leave him there for as much as I can. Get pretty sentimental about me little dolphin and loaf setup. So yeah, I try if I can, just to make it in the dolphin. So anyway, this is the first watchtower, which as you can see, at least is pretty reasonably quick after we start. I mean, well, the video's only gone 5 minutes so far, so it must have been 4 minutes to get to here. Yeah, I could see the upgrade there. So I've now just done a U-turn. I'm now heading back the way I'm going. Again, well, yeah, I'm driving back the way I came, and like I said, I'll kind of show you the map again in a minute where I've actually drawn some lines. I didn't even really need to recreate the footage on this, and even though the video is just over 50 minutes, yeah, I've pretty much left every single bit of clip in. I kind of recapped the route I take at the end as well, so if this isn't the clearest in the world, like, yeah, near the end of the video I drew the actual path, like the best routes I think you should take and all the rest of it, and kind of follow along that with a camera just to show you. But yeah, off to my left now, kind of on a little mountain, spirally mountain thing, there's that was the upgrade for the Sentinel, which again, at this point I had no idea, so I just thought it was Bruce, hence why I kind of then changed my plans and made it a bit of a priority to head that way and get the upgrade. As I said originally, that's why I left my trailer at the entrance. I was going to just drive back to the entrance now and essentially go the other way on this map. You can see a little road leading off to like the north or whatever. So here is where I am. Where the edit happened, that's where I've just drove back to. You can see like I just came from that watchtower there, back down here to there. And you can see, obviously, like the gateway's just above me. So yeah, I'm going to spiral down here, and that's the upgrade. But then I'm going to go and cross like that little ice bridge over there, and basically try and head to, yeah, the second watchtower, which I wasn't sure until I grabbed this first watchtower if there was any route across that side of the map. But yeah, I mean, regardless, I wanted to come and get this upgrade. And to be fair, like, once you go down that pretty steep hill there, I mean, all this isn't super snow, so again, it's nice, it was enjoyable to drive. I stayed nice and close to, like, the trees there, because I assume a lot of that is breakable ice, and I really didn't fancy smashing through that right now. But then again, you get a few slow patches like this. In and of itself, this bit, I believe in a minute or so, I get stuck in. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's too bad, because it's only like at least one little patch. Like, if they made, you know, the next bloody 50, 100 truck lengths just this, it'd be a bit of a pain in the arse. At least this is like probably the truck and trailer length worth of really trollish terrain and everything, and then yeah, it gets a little bit better. Still a little bit on the super death snow boring side, but kind of got to take the rough with the smooth on this one. But again, the map is way more enjoyable just to scout and everything than like the Northern Aegis installation. The Northern Aegis installation, now I actually know my way around, it's not as bad as it drove me mad that first night. It's just like I said, the amount of roadblocks and all the rest of it just felt like they were doing it to take the piss, really, knowing full well you will have no idea and you just have to keep doubling back on yourself. Yeah, so right now, normally I'd carry on, but again, I'm getting this upgrade, so I'm just going to disconnect the trailer, because trying to reverse those bloody things, I'm sick and tired of trying to do it, really, if I can avoid it, so that's why I just keep disconnecting it wherever I can. And then, yeah, to go and get this upgrade, I mean, again, up to now, if I had, like, if there was a garage in Cosmodrome that was right next to this entrance to this map, I could probably bring a Tatron with a loaf on the roof. I'd bring a loaf regardless, but yeah, a Tatron would probably do this particular like scouting thing I'm doing now, alright, because for the most part, like I said, you're sort of climbing over rocks and through the super snow, which the Tatron does pretty decent through the super snow. It's also, well, it doesn't like getting stuck on big rocks, but as far as climbing up like the lips of rocks and that, it's not too bad, because like I said, it's got that sort of angled front to it. See, this stuff like this is pretty cool. It's obviously a bit tricky, and it's like, oh god, I hope I don't roll, but I mean, you can see how slow I'm going, so if they want to achieve making everybody go seriously slow, this is a much more enjoyable technical way of doing it than just making this a death snow section that I have to just squeeze the trigger for the next minute. Like, there's now actually a chance that I could tip, and yeah, I'm catching, I assume, my front bumper on the next bump. They appear to have made this section perfectly, like, to catch the dolphin out, which has got a little bit of a low chin on him, really. It would have been quite nice if they added a slight bit of raised suspension for this beast as well. It's still a very solid truck without, but Yeah, I had a little go with Bruce at the end, and I can't remember if I put it in the video actually, but yeah, you'll see the suspension. Like I said, it was only now. I was like, oh yeah, tune custom. Oh, Cairn Sentinel. Which, well, I mean, cool, fair enough. Again, I literally doubled back on myself. I edited it out just because otherwise this really would have been near enough an hour. Back to where I am though, grabbing my trailer. And to be fair, it probably is worth grabbing the upgrade while I'm literally driving past. I wouldn't have been as enthused to go and grab it if I'd already known it was that Cairn Sentinel thing, but yeah, I suppose now it's done. It's off the list, I don't have to send anything back there later. So when we have a look at the map now, like I say, you can see a little ice bridge cutting across, so I knew I could at least get to that part, and then I was hoping I could drive along like the icy shoreline or whatever for that little riverbanks bit, and head, yeah, cut a good chunk of the map out and actually get towards this next watchtower. The map must be a pretty decent size really, because when you actually start looking a little bit later, the watchtower's pretty far in the distance. It's quite nice though. This rock bridge isn't too trollish. A bump over there, sorry, there's a tiny little glitch there, but didn't get any any suspension damage or wheels burst or anything while I was going over there, so that was pretty good, not too trollish on that. And yeah, now I wasn't sure, I could cut along like the shore upwards and try and join that road that was a bit further north, or do I just risk it and kind of go along here? By now I'm on the ice, I was like, it's not looking like it's breakable ice. It all looks pretty nice and shiny and blue, so yeah, I shouldn't end up in a situation where I just punch through and then I'm stuck. That's definitely what I'm keeping an eye on now. Took a little bit of a hit there on the ice with the suspension, nothing crazy though. I mean, I've got a load for repairs and this maintenance trailer. The main reason I bring the maintenance trailer is for the fuel more than the repairs. It's just that, as I've said before, the fuel trailer that's just fuel is so much heavier than this trailer, even though they've got about the same amount of fuel. The fuel weight is broken on it, and yeah, it's just more of a pain in the ass to haul around, and if it starts to tip, it's heavy enough that it will try and take you with it. So I was just wondering now, do I carry going straight ahead, or you can kind of see a little cut through going up there, and there's a repair station just there, and one, I wanted to see what that was, what else is there. Two, I just took a bit of a whack on the ice, and even though it wasn't that bad, I just thought, sod it. Like, if you look ahead of me, it was hard to tell, but it's like, it looks like it got a lot snowier from there, so I thought, well, just in case they try and make me crawl slowly through super snow, I may as well just cut up to this repair thing, and then there is roads that look like they're sort of leading further to the left of the map where I can get a little bit closer to the watchtower. Sorry, I'm mumbling my words a bit tonight. I didn't go to sleep yesterday, and then I got about 4 hours sleep last night or earlier, whenever it was. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty tired, and yeah, if I try and get sleep, it just won't happen. So it's not too bad climbing up there, nothing too... I think there is, yeah, a little patch here where it slows you down quite a lot. Some gigantic factory going on over there. I'm not too sure what that's for, but it's probably going to factor into building this rocket thing, I would have thought. Which I'll be getting on with soon. I've just kind of... The videos I've been wanting to get out mainly was the map exploration videos, and the review videos, I suppose, and then obviously I've done just some gameplay of like the newer trucks. I've still not really got any gameplay of the Cat CT681 yet. Oh, I did a little bit actually, didn't I? I did build one of those bridges the other day. So yeah, this is the repair station. I was going in there because I wanted to see. I was like, oh, is this an actual garage or not? And no, I don't believe it is. It's just a giant repair square thing. So I'm going to edit ahead back to when I'm just driving back out of the place, because yeah, there's nothing else going on in there anyway. So yeah, I could just see the road sort of going that way. I was like, well, we'll see. That's where I want to get. But like I said, it's yeah, it's further in the distance than you sort of think. I suppose on these maps, like just in the bottom corner, they could do with a little scale, if that makes sense. Like, you know, just 100 meters is an inch or whatever. It's sort of, because some maps, I mean, they all just look like the same square, but it's yeah, some maps are like a quarter of the size of the other maps, so the same distance can be travelled 4 times quicker or take 4 times longer. Those concrete block things as well on the road, these ones coming up as well, they I didn't take any damage, and I didn't go seriously slow on them because I knew worst case the repair bay was back there, and I kind of wanted to see if they just made them completely ridiculous, and they hadn't really. Yeah, I stopped now because the road looks like it's going to start taking me towards almost like the top left-hand corner watchtower and away from this one basically. So yeah, I'm going to reverse up. I could see a little cut through on this mountain, so yeah, it's just like a little path going up here. You sort of go up this hill and you can see just over there sort of start dropping down the other side. And I have to say I apologise for this bit because I've lost, I mean, probably only about 30 seconds of footage. It's only me driving literally a little bit further up that hill. I plucked this from a different bit. I'll start from about there to there. That's basically, and now it's back here. So yeah, apologies for that. It's a tiny little bit, but from where I was then, just drive forward, I don't know, 5 truck and trailer lengths, and you're pretty much where I am again, so thankfully it wasn't like a particularly big chunk or anything crazy. It's just like, yeah, drive forward for 30 seconds, that's about it. Gets a little bit swampy and that down here. And you'll see later on, it'll be easy to explain, like I think at the end when I sort of recap the route, but if I had carried along like those riverbanks on the ice instead of cutting up to the repair bay, further down there was a little bridge I could have crossed, and I basically eventually would have intercepted where I'm headed now, coming from the left hand side of the screen, but a bit further up here, I wouldn't have met myself sort of yet. But overall, going this way was fine. Yeah, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing to cut up there, go in the repair bay, make sure I'm all fixed up and everything. And time wise, it might have been a little bit longer obviously to go round that way and go to the repair bay and everything, but yeah, I don't think it was particularly difficult or anything like that. What you've seen, it was mainly roads after that. Even those concrete blocks on the roads weren't being particularly trollish or anything. This bit was a little bit. Turns out you don't really want to drive in the middle of these watery bits. When I just cut over it a minute ago, it was it didn't really slow me down at all, but this thing is not happy. I'm pretty much stuck dead there. So I assume this is the equivalent of like death mud, because yeah, Dolphin can drive through super mud. Slow, but it can still drive through it, whereas this was actually needing a winch. At least they have put enough like immovable trees along here that you can always reach something. Of course, it always prioritises those little ones first. I'm surprised that didn't pull it out of the ground, to be fair though. Held on pretty well, that one. I was looking around now like, what? This is a bit of a random place to have like a, I don't know, somewhere where you pick cargo up anyway. And I don't know right now if there's any missions that can be done that'll, like, you know, do an access to location. I'll be looking at doing a video on that in the next day or two, because they're sort of the first missions I want to get done. There's a couple of roadblocks on this map as well, so I'll be getting them done quite soon. But when I get here and check, it's metal beams, but there's one metal beam there, and that's it. So I assume once I've grabbed that, the whole place might just close down. I mean, it did actually look like, I suppose, behind it, like there's a rocket part lying along the floor, so maybe it just kind of caches it in as a metal beam and you have to deliver that somewhere to build that part of the rocket. I assume they're probably going to go that way around it. But yeah, I'm slowly sort of plodding forward, veering off to the right because I'm trying to get closer. You could sort of see the watchtower up in the distance on that hill, and like I said, it still looks quite far away even now. And yeah, I've drove a good, probably over halfway since I was since like that repair bay. But yeah, sections like this, even though they're I'm not going fast for it, but I'm not looking for fast on this kind of terrain. This is now, yeah, got a bit of technicality and a sort of interesting enough to, I don't mind. Started tipping quite a lot there. I cut about 30 seconds out. I was just kind of sat there I think I was having a little drink and a coffee and that. In the end, I just stuck it in reverse. I was going to see if I could try and drive out of it, but it looked like I might just keep tipping further, so yeah. Stick it in reverse. So just watch out for that section. For whatever reason, the ground must sink away quite a lot. I think the tyres just sank in quite a bit. And yeah, let me tip. It looks like I went exactly the same way though. I was just steering hard left the whole time, trying to bump up the rock to my left, but it didn't really let me. But it didn't also rotate me to my side that time, so we'll take it. And it was definitely worth going this way, by the way, because where I was before I entered this little bit, I could have veered off to the left, but you're about to see why it almost looked as well like the left looked like an easier route. But I'm definitely glad I didn't, because when I got to here, I could already tell this was a landslide. I'll just quickly, while I'm here, I'll just grab it and, yeah, get that banked. But, yeah, it would have blocked me off, basically, so it's a good job I went round to, like, the right-hand side instead. I assume that's a fuel station. Well, I know it is now, but it looked like it was. There's the watchtower up there. It doesn't look like there's a road, really. It's certainly not for my Dolphin. I could possibly send the loaf up the side of that hill, but at the same time, I kind of thought, well, I want to see what the actual route is supposed to be. Yeah, I mean now literally it's probably why the camera isn't moving. I'm now squeezing the throttle, I've put a YouTube video on and I'm probably looking back at the TV once every 10-15 seconds. And I'm watching a video, because there's just nothing else to do while you're being forced to go that slow. And yeah, this is a fuel station, again, a bit of a random place for it, but... Well, I suppose there is roads as we end up going further up here. It's going to be like a snowy route further up this hill, but once you're at the top there is paved roads and stuff, so maybe it's not that far from civilization as far as this map's concerned. But it's nice, I was also able to fill my, my maintenance trailer up as well. So again, there's the watchtower up there, you can't really see it, but it is there. Yeah, it's looking like there's a big rocky thing to the right. Again, I reckon I could squeeze a loaf pretty easily. Well, you would, 1,000,000%, because, yeah, they don't put the trees dense enough that can block a loaf. They can put trees dense enough to block trucks, but... I mean, oh, well, I assume they could if they really wanted to put them dense enough to block a loaf, but I'll still find a way. But yeah, it was looking like there was nothing down there, so again, I wanted to see, like, well, I'll follow up here then, because it obviously looks like a bit of a cleared out path, and I'd kind of like to find the actual proper route up there if I'm doing this video. Again, it's still eyeballing, like... You see, that's the thing, though. I could easily jump the loaf out and zip up there, but I'm kind of... I like the loaf where he is at the minute. I can see on the map now, though, that there is, like, a... yeah, a little route veering off to the right just up here and sort of doubles back on itself. And it looked pretty simple when I just seen it on the map. There's these roads and that. So yeah, I suppose that fuel station isn't that far from normal stuff. Look now, I was like, oh, God, that ain't what it looked like on the map. Should have sent the loaf up the hill. So I edit a bit out here because, to be honest, I spent about a minute or so trying to climb up these rocks with the Dolphin. There was only trees that were popping out the ground that I could winch to. It's just, there's these two bits of rock at the start that once they go past your second axle, there's such a gap between your second and third axle that it's just too tall to then climb the back end over. So, I mean, again, always take a goddamn horse of a vehicle with you, because now it's his turn. I was like, right, he is going to have to jump himself out the sideboard now. And again, normally you can reverse out, but when you land on snow, it just stops you dead. So I just stuck a winch to one of the trees over there, and he's out. Bit of super snow there, but we're all good. Got a pretty long winch on him, so every time you get in super snow, 99% of the time you can reach something ahead of you and just pull yourself through. Essentially, you'll almost end up going as quick, if not quicker, than the trucks anyway, because you're just constantly travelling at the speed of your winch, which isn't rapid, but neither is super snow. So yeah, you can see how those rocks are angled, like the one on the left and the right. That's just both what's sat between those second and third axles. And yeah, if there was like a nice solid tree up front, I could probably just keep pulling on the winch. I could reach that tree off to the right, but it looked like it was going to start tipping me. And yeah, it was one of them where it's like, I don't even want to go there, so I know the loaf will get up here. To be honest, it's probably this first bit that's a bit tricky as well, because I tried with the dolphin first. I plucked a lot of the killable trees out of the ground. If I'd just sent the loaf immediately, there would have been trees like where I am now that would have been much easier to reach. But yeah, it is what it is. He still made his way up there. It's looking as well like it's all icy here, because as you can see, I'm barely getting any grip. That's another reason why it's holding me back. If I had chained would obviously help on this bit, because it's basically like almost like smooth rock that's got black ice on it. But then the muds are definitely better at going through snow. Like, I mean, the loaf has muds. I don't know why they couldn't make a mud version of the chained like they do with the Russian trucks. They end up giving you the crappy version of chained like they do on the American trucks. Hence why I just prefer the muds. Like I say, unless I'm on maps like this where you've got black ice roads, it just doesn't really matter with a loaf. See, look, this snow. How nice is this to be able to drive this fast? And, as I said, now, you can see me bouncing around, like I'm having to pay attention, make sure I don't roll. It's far more engaging and interesting and fun, and yeah. And even, I'm sure now, yeah, I hit something. It doesn't even look like there's anything there, really, but either way. Point being, the loaf's goddamn horse of a vehicle. I knew he'd get back to his wheels, but I don't know, I was having a good old time, and there you go. I rolled, like, bit of risk. It was just better than going 0.1 mile an hour. So, that's the next watchtower done, and that's the bottom bit of the map. There is this here, that, like, is it A-E-H-N-H, I think. Is that, I don't know if that's, what do they call the Russian? Is it Krylik or something like that? I don't know, or if that's just some initials, like, I mean, they look like English words, but some of the Russian words do. Letters, sorry. But yeah, that's the bottom half of the map done anyway. So basically, I'm now going to go back to my Zix, which again, we're at the gateway. This is why, well, I didn't really know, but this is why I like to take two separate convoys, so now I just don't have to drive the Dolphin all the way back to here just to then do this side. I mean, I've got a loaf parked so close behind me, it's basically touching me, and still the winch wouldn't grab it. Yeah, straight into an icy road, but thankfully we're going down it. But this Zix probably wouldn't enjoy going up. Well, I don't. Never mind, won't enjoy. I don't think the Zix would get back up that road. But that's why the loaf that I'm towing behind the maintenance trailer has got chains on, because then I could put him in front and should be able to pull the Zix up the hill. Got enough run up here, you can see that I'm losing my speed, it's bleeding it, but fortunately it's yeah, the steepness kind of calmed down then, and I had just enough to keep going. And yeah, as far as the two loafs I've got on my truck, I mean, I like to travel like that anyway for the roof rack thing, but the OG loaf who's on like the front on the roof rack, he's got the the advanced winch, so that's got like the best strength and the best reach. The red loaf in the sideboard has got the autonomous winch, so again, absolute worst case scenario, if I tipped and by some miracle both of those loafs were also on their roof and neither of them could like start their engine, obviously the red one could rescue itself with the autonomous winch, that will rescue the OG loaf, and then OG loaf can rescue the Zix. So I got it all covered. Like I said, it took me about an hour to travel from the Cosmodrome garage to here, but I was having a pretty good time just driving with my road train. But yeah, I was like, I'm doing one journey I ain't gonna go back to Cosmodrome and bring another load of stuff, like, so that's why I absolutely plastered everything, yeah, with loafs. But yeah, anyway, you see that garage off, or not garage, but whatever warehouse thing off to the left. We're going to be going down there in a minute, because when you get here, there's a roadblock. I definitely ain't going anywhere, and yeah, running along the left is like a cliff, basically, so fortunately, though, it's not too bad, and again, by now, I can see an alternate route. That's what Northern Aegis installation, I hit 3 roadblocks, and I barely started the map, and I couldn't see anything, like, anywhere else to go. Obviously, I could see potential places, but then I'd have to blindly drive down there, and then I'd hit another roadblock, and it's like, for Christ's sake, man. I'm basically back at the start of the map, and I've already hit 3 roadblocks, and yeah, that was a bit over the top. Which, hence why I went and got a prototype radar trailer, sent in radar loaf, and then I was just uncovering the map as I was travelling, and that helped me avoid a few more roadblocks. I was just looking there while I wasn't sure if I need to cut through the road that goes through that big warehouse thing, but it doesn't look like there is a road leading out the other side of it, so I'm probably going to have to like go round it instead. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, right, and it's not just a super snow thing. Every now and then it feels like this thing goes into limp mode where it's got like 20% power. It's done it a couple of times to me over the last few days. Like, I didn't really notice it the first day I got this, and I don't know if it's just me or I don't know. I don't feel like it was doing it originally, but it doesn't last long. I'll have to find some footage of it because I know I've got it somewhere, but I was driving it like earlier at some point, and only for about 30 seconds. It was just, yeah, like it'd barely move. Even now, really, there, you sort of see how I was pretty slow, and then it now just picked up the speed a bit, because I was going downhill there in the high gear, so it should have pretty easily got up to, like, the speed of high gear, but it just sounded like there's no power, there's not really many revs, and it's just quite gutless for, like, 30 seconds, and then it'll, I don't know, just seems to sort itself out, and it's back to normal. So I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but pretty convinced I have. I mean, these bits here, that might just be like the, well, death snow, really, because, yeah, that's kind of what slows this thing down to that sort of speed. But when I was on about the engine thing, like, I wasn't in a bit of death snow, and I know that because I also had the Dolphin nearby, and that drove through the same section, so if it was death mud or death snow, the Dolphin wouldn't have made it. Yeah, so there's the road leading into the warehouse. It looks like there's a route that way, basically, so that's the way I'm going to head. I just usually stick a waypoint to the watchtower, just so I know what direction it is once I've reached as far as I can go, where I can actually see where I'm going. Yeah, you can see those little tyre tracks going off this way, so it's like, cool, that seems like the way to go. I don't know what that big spiky thing is off in the distance there. I'll go and check that out later on at some point, but not on this video. I just mean, yeah, probably tomorrow by now, in fact. And yeah, I don't know what that little warehouse thing is either. Again, most likely something to do with the rocket. I'm not sure though. I think the rocket takes off on Cosmodrome, if I'm not mistaken. But then I don't know. That big spiky thing in the distance. Maybe that's like a sort of tower support thing that they build the rocket up against. I have no idea. And yeah, this 6 thing, I mean, it's handling this terrain pretty well, all things considered. To be fair though, I'm just trying to think, I reckon this bit could be done as well in a Tatrin. I'm not necessarily saying that's the best choice, but I'd certainly say it's doable. I mean, to be fair, this Zix, they definitely, like, obviously they've released it with this phase. As far as this new Death Snow and Death Mud goes, like, the Tatrin doesn't like that, the Dolphin, nothing really likes that, but this thing can actually get through it. There's stuff like the Antarctic probably could as well. But yeah, like I said with the Antarctic, because it's got engageable diffs, you bleed so much power unless you're in low range with the diffs on, and then you lose so much speed because you're always in low range that, like I said, now you're using a lot of fuel for the amount of distance you're covering and all sorts, so it's just sort of, yeah. It's not a bad truck, but I'd rather take the Zix. So I'll reach like a little crossroad. I can sort of see if that roadblock was cleared, I could end up getting back to this point. So I was looking, do I sort of veer off to the right or carry on forward? And if you can see the watchtower, it looks like there's a load of rocks kind of curving round it on the right hand side. So I was like, sod it, I'll go this way, because I assume if I do go, if I turned right there, like, don't think it's going to let me climb up to that watchtower from that direction. I'm going to take my chances and go this way. And, oh yeah, just to throw it out there as well, like I said, behind me I have got a loaf that's got chains on, and that's about to save my bacon in about 10 or 15 seconds. So whatever you bring, this is where I'm saying, like, if you brought the Tatrin, it's going to have the same problem, because you can't put chains on the Tatrin, and I can't put chains on this. I suppose in effect, like, maybe it would have been better to switch them round, and I sent the Zix to get the first two watchtowers and then sent the Dolphin to get these two. I mean, obviously I didn't know what I was going to run into, but knowing what I know now, the Dolphin had chained. Not sure where I took that engine damage, to be honest, but bear in mind though that, yeah, it's got the top engine, like the new top engine, which has a lot less health on it, so it doesn't take much of a whack before it's in the red. But I've got the roof rack, so it's basically, yeah, got a spare 300. Yeah, this bit here, I can already tell, seen it on other maps before, this is pure smooth black ice, like smooth rock. That Zix would not get up here in a million years. And I know maybe I could winch the stuff, but I already know. I've tried it before, and it ain't worth it. Sent the loaf in, he was up there in seconds. Just looking now like, do I cut through the trees? And I reckon I could, but you can sort of see there's like a big loop going round of the a cleared pass, so I was like, sod it, I'll go the proper way. See, now again, they're not too brutal on the snow. This is I'm happy with this pace. A few little technical bits to skip your way through, so yeah, looking pretty good. Just a little glitch there, it wasn't an edit. See, and again though, like, this is far more enjoyable. And there's still a bit of risk involved. And I'm actually able to get on with it, which is always nice. However, they couldn't bloody resist, could they? Had to make the last bit this slow, so I just sped it up by 8. I mean, it probably took me longer to do that last little bit than the whole trip up there, which, again, it's like, why? They're obsessed with this bloody super snow. But anyway, watchtower number 3 in the bag. That's kind of the way I've had my map orientated, with the entrance to the map kind of, I suppose, bottom left. And then, yeah, I was like, aha, there's the upgrade, which has got to be Bruce. So, there is technically a long way you can go around, but we aren't in any average vehicle. We're in a goddamn horse of a vehicle, so I was like, sod it, I'll just jump down the mountain. Seems like the logical thing to do. Well, yeah, do you know what? If there wasn't super snow behind me that I'd just spent the last 3 minutes crawling through, I might have gone back round, but they wrecked it for themselves, so now I'll gain my time back the loaf way. I knew this would happen. He always does a little endo. And again, you'd look, I'm only going to edit this out because I'll sat here for about an extra 10 seconds, but you just got to wait for him to tip, even though he was like literally arse over tip. I think those tree branches I was leaning on a bit, I think they were making it take a little bit longer for me to get back to this point where I could fire the engine up. Camera angles are all a bit wonky and mad at this minute, but we'll soon get out of that. And you see how, because they don't intend for you to drive down this section, they haven't bothered to make all of this super snow. Whereas really, you would think that would be harder to drive through than a road, albeit a snowy road. So yeah, join this main road. Again, this one's got chains, so he's going to have no trouble on these roads. And it was looking good at the start, and then yeah, they went and ruined it with boring super snow. So again, I'm just going to fast forward through this, because there's no point in us all watching a loaf travel at 0.1 mile an hour. Or anything would, that's the thing. If I was driving a Dolphin through here, it'd be going about the same speed, like in first gear, bleeding most of it in wheel spin. I started here again, because now, instead of the lazy suit, I mean, at this rate, I'm going to stop calling it Death Snow, and just call it Lazy Dev Snow. Because, I mean, I'm kind of being forced to go as slow now, only it's not shitty Death Snow, it's like actual rocks and things to climb and work out. And I don't think the loaf... It's funny, because for the most part, I would definitely say chained climb up the lips of rocks and stuff better than muds. But the exception, I would say, is the loaf. I think the muds climb better than the chained. They're still not bad, but I don't think they're as useful. I could have gone around to the left, but I was like, no. Out of principle now, I'm driving up on this rock. And there it is. Turns out you get Bruce suspension from a crashed helicopter. Well, or an incredibly small little family saloon car. Some pretty hefty suspension. But yeah, that's good. That's the active suspension. So it's basically raised, but you can obviously choose to raise it up and down. Was it Chernokamensk? One day. That word will stick in my head. And then, yeah, I've just now changed back to my Zix, which was where I like dropped the loaf off and sent him up for the third watchtower. And as you can see, there was quite a nice clear path. Just straight out of there, the third watchtower uncovered that much, so I could draw the line to there, across that bridge, and I'm now that far away from the fourth watchtower, so I was like, oh, that's good. That's looking like it'll speed things up a bit. And to be fair, if I had have edited out the bits where I went and got the that Khan Sentinel suspension and the Bruce suspension, I mean, this video may have been like nearer 45 minutes, but yeah, it's one of them. They were kind of roughly en route, particularly the Khan Sentinel suspension. And yeah, I just thought it'd be best to put it in the video. For some people, that's probably the only reason, me included, why I was particularly keen on scouting this map ASAP, other than I wanted to make a video and get it up sooner rather than later. That's what she said. Yeah, just like to sort of help you guys out, but I wanted this Bruce suspension. I've been hearing good things about it, and it does. I had a little drive with Bruce, makes him way better. I'm not even sure, like I said, I won't bother doing another review video of like that Voron Grad, because the engine's probably a bit of an improvement, but there probably wouldn't be much in it, because when I reviewed the Voron Grad, that was before they broke the gearboxes and all the rest of it, so even if that's helped it again a bit, it'll probably be ballpark the same as the review video. But Bruce, I might do another review video, or if not a full review video, I might just do like a little refresher on what he's now capable of climbing over and all the rest of it, because even though it doesn't look like it raises it a hell of a lot, particularly between the second and third axle again, where the fuel tanks are, they look like they sit so much higher now, and they used to catch and sit on quite a lot of rocks. And once that had sit on a rock, that'd obviously lift all your weight off like your rear 3 tyres or whatever. so you could get beached quite easy. Like that looks like a bit like with the Kolobs really. The raised suspension made a pretty big difference to like what they're actually capable of. So again, icy road going uphill, that's why I kind of just swerved off quickly. I'm going to have to use the snow bank at the side to drive up, which at least it's there. Well, I haven't got my chain loaf with me now, so I'm on my own. just me and 2 goddamn horses. Pretty nice looking bridge. I mean, again, I've always said the loaf's goddamn professional. He knows his bridge clearances. He ain't no amateur loaf. Remember when we were doing the Swiss Army Dolphin on Northport? Same thing there. Cleared that bridge with like a few inches to spare. Oh yeah, it was when he was hugging on that crane. I mean, what a goddamn beast. And yeah, as you can see, that was a pretty simple drive getting like from out of where I was near the 3rd watchtower to the road. There, like bloody invisible hitbox. I was tempted to Dukes of Hazzard it over there, but yeah, I can't. But then I looked on the map and I was like, oh, fair enough, it's probably looking like I'm best off cutting up this way anyway. You could go that way, hypothetically. Well, there is actually a route. You can see to the left there's like a rock I could actually drive up. I'll show it you near the end of the video, but I'll drive the opposite way, because again, I tried to Dukes of Hazzard it coming the other way, and then I hit another invisible wall. It was like, god damn it. I don't really know why they put an invisible wall on it. I don't really see... I don't know what the problem is with me just keeping it pinned and leaping the gap. Sometimes you gotta do it. Yeah, I think we're just passing the log station to my left. Not really checked out. There's 2 log stations on this map, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume one of them's got long, one of them's got short. They seem fairly close together. Kind of this corner of the map, really. And again, thankfully, not anything like death snow or anything anyway. It's probably super snow, but as long as I'm in high gear, so that'll do me. And then yeah, you can see the watchtower at the top of that hill. I think we're coming up, yeah, to a little railway track now. That must have been a glitch, I think. It's not an edit anyway. And yeah, I mean, you can kind of, I'm looking on the map now. There will be a way round. Probably going to have to go right, connect back to the road and whatever, but by now I was like, well, I do happen to know that there is a goddamn professional on board that can handle this. So, unpack trucks. It's time to send in the loaf. He's off. I mean, yeah, I'll show you in a minute the way round. It's pretty easy either way. It was just this was kind of a shorter, more direct route. And yeah, I fancied a bit of loaf time again. It's been a good 8 minutes since my last loaf drive. It's far too long. And these little bushes here, I've said before, they're like spring-loaded. Not there. I knew I'd probably tip there, and that's why I fired a winch out. Look, fires me up in the air that way. But on that live stream a couple of weeks ago on Red Canyon, it was one of those bushes that fired me up in the air and made me roll my loaf. That was a near impossible escape that he managed, but still. Watchtower number 4 in the bag. And yeah, now when I look on the map, I'll show you in a sec. You basically, where I got to that railway, just turn right, go back, connect back to the main road, turn left, and then there'll be a left coming up like pretty soon afterwards. But yeah, there's a sort of overview of the whole map. Oh no, I think there's 3 log stations actually. I've just seen another one kind of in the middle on the left. Right, so this is now recapping the routes I took. So you can see obviously from the that's starting from the entrance there. So for the first watchtower, came down this little snowy road, up that little rocky ledge bit, and that was the first watchtower. In theory, you could go down this way and connect back down there, but I don't know, in the end I think it was best to just double back on myself. I already knew that way, there was nothing too trollish. Yeah, I went and grabbed my trailer, but then we went down that hill, round there. I quickly zipped up there to get that Cairn Sentinel suspension. Cut across that like ice bridge, really. Followed along the beach, and I went up here to the repair station, along this road, up this hill, and down there. And then obviously cut through all these watery bits. But where I was there, if you carried driving along, like I said, there's a bridge there, and I could have drove up here. But then don't go that way, because that's that roadblock. So you want to kind of veer off to the right. That's where I nearly tipped, and I just reversed and got back to my wheels. That was the fuel station. That's where I zipped up in the loaf. And yeah, so that's watchtower 1 and 2 out of the way. And then, like I said, I skipped back to the gateway in my Zix. And these are now the routes I took. Sort of, yeah, drove along there, hit that roadblock, so doubled back on myself, down this hill, turned sort of right, but instead of going in that warehouse bit there, you just sort of veer off on a little snowy road around it. There's a little gap through the trees. You get some crossroads here. I kind of went straight over. And then I got to there where I drove like, yeah, the loaf up that sort of sheet of ice, black rock thing. Around there, grab the watchtower, and then obviously for me, I quickly seen the upgrade there, so I just zipped down the mountain up there for the upgrade. But then I went back to my Zix, which was parked here, and yeah, there was already a nice little line cut through the trees. Drove down there, connected back up with the road, across the bridge. When you get to the logging station, like I said, that's like a bridge that's out with an invisible barrier, so turn sort of left after the log station, climb the hill. There's the railway line. I drove up there in the loaf, but join the road, go down there, and just loop round. Sort of, as you can see, it's a much longer way, but like a few minutes. And yeah, that's those done. I'll just quickly show you as well while I'm here, for the sakes of getting it in the video, the two routes just going to the upgrades, if that's all you want to head here for now. Pretty easy as well from the start. Go down the same way really, take that same road round the back of that warehouse, and when you get to the crossroad bit, go right this time, connect back up with the main road, and then yeah, swerve, kind of sort of double back on yourself a little bit, and the upgrade's just up there. And then for the Cairn Sentinel upgrade, again from the gateway, so very easy to get even if you haven't scouted the map really. Down there, down the hill, loop round, and you sort of just spiral around on yourself. And it's, yeah, up there. Job done. So like I said, that was a much more enjoyable map. Seems like it'd be a pretty cool map to do the missions on in general. Like a little bit of difficulty, but nothing too insane. Again, like I was about to Dukes of Hazzard my way over there, and I hit an invisible wall. But from this side, you could notice it a lot easier, like these little tracks veering off up here. So it's like, sod it. We'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. Right now, I would probably prefer chained. But it was looking alright, to be fair. It didn't really start slipping around as bad as I thought we would. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool little route round. At least in this case, I've put a roadblock. And, well, you can see, like, the roadblock I hit, the first one with the Zix, I could still see an alternate route. That one's got an alternate route. Yeah, they've just been a lot fairer about letting you just chill and float around the map. But anyway, that's about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf, and I'll be back soon.